Hello everybody, it's video from the road time again. Hopefully it's not too loud, all the crazy sounds that you hear from the road, but I just had to make a little video. Haven't made one in a while. Want to talk about, this is Perspectives part 3, I'd say, and it really speaks to where we're at. We have a lot of opinions, and one of the biggest issues that I find on my day-to-day conversations and travels and meeting with strangers and people I know is that if it does not affect them, they don't believe it. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what economic background you are. A lot of people that I'm coming in contact with, if it does not affect them, they do not believe it. Not everybody, but just most. If it doesn't affect them, they don't believe it. Black Lives Matters. If it matters to you, if it doesn't matter to you, you don't believe it. Coronavirus matters. If it matters to you, if somebody that you've lost or you have it, it matters to you. If not, you don't believe it. The economy is in a spiraling fall. If it doesn't affect you, you don't believe it. A lot of different viewpoints, opinions, a lot of conjecture. Let's stick to the facts. I love the facts. Facts are Black Lives Matter is a statement that we have to make because in the United States and even around the world, Black lives do not matter to the majority of people. These are just facts. If you're not black, or if you've not lost somebody that you're related to that's black because of violence, because of systematic racism, because of a system that is not built for us to thrive in, then you won't believe it. But it's real. Just to dispel those thoughts of those who don't believe that it's not real. It's real. Black lives do matter, and there is a systemic built-in mechanism that continuously causes black lives to be lost prematurely. Whether it's due to violence, whether it's due to health issues, whether it's due to coronavirus. And let's springboard over than that. A lot of people don't believe coronavirus is not real because it doesn't affect them. But now if you're poor, disenfranchised, and poor of health in the United States of America, i.e. a lot of black and brown people, it doesn't affect you, but it does affect them. They're dying. They're dying. Period. The facts are there. Now, they're not coming out as fast as we'd like for them to come out. They're not coming out at all, and a lot of times, so we have to push for that. We have to push for that information. There are a lot of different perspectives if it does not affect you. You know, the housing market, if it does not affect you, if you have the ability to access $200,000 for a house, to purchase a house, you assume everybody that works and pays their bills should have the same ability. That's not actually true as well. Systematically, there are a lot of issues that preclude a lot of people from being able to access that much capital. And these are people that work harder than you. They work harder than you. They show up more than you. They do all the right things even more than you, and still are unable to access that sort of capital. It's a systematic issue. It's not an issue of character or issue of, well, they should have done something different. But these are perspectives and viewpoints from people that are not affected the same as other people. So we have to understand, and this goes on and on and on and on and on. The reality of it is, though, is we have to understand different perspectives, different life experiences, different stations in life And all of these things add up. They add up. We don't all have the same advantages. We don't all have the same disadvantages. It's important to understand, by the grace of God, where you've been positioned in life, and know it could always be worse, but it could definitely be better. And for all those who are accustomed to when America was great for them and their families, and they know and see, well, it's not like that anymore. It's not so great anymore. Well, you're catching up to the rest of us. So this reality's always been here. You just have never seen it because you were insulated. You had the privilege that kept you from having to see what it felt like to be a minority, to see what it felt like to be discriminated against, to see what it felt like to be the other. And this is just, as we grow as a country, as the melting pot, actually becomes the melting pot, and it's not just slanted one way or the other. These are the growing pains. These are the growing pains. The reality of it is this American experiment is not meant, ideally, the ideal vision of it is not meant to just be this people or that people. It's supposed to be, we the people, as in, all the people. But systematically, there are a lot of things built in to keep others from participating in that piece of America, and that others are other Americans. That's an issue. You want the blood and sweat and tears, say out of a people, but you don't want the people to be a part of the process. You don't want people to be a part of the system. So you build in little layers that keep them from actually being able to appreciate, what it is that we call America. But that's part of a bigger conversation. My point is, we have to start understanding there are a lot of things affecting a lot of people, ourselves included, that we need to be prayerfully, actively seeking God in order to affect what needs to be done, what direction we need to be going in, what direction we need to be, focusing our lives and attentions for kingdom business, and not just, if it doesn't affect me. Well, if it doesn't affect me, let's look at the numbers. In the past few months, now you can try to dispel coronavirus all you want. Just in the United States alone, the numbers are ridiculous in such a short period of time. And sure, a lot of different, conspiracy theories. There's a lot of going around, and the Lord knows it's hard to keep from them. I tell you what, I've got my own conspiracy theories that I try not to regurgitate too much, but this is the way I feel, and I have them as well. The reality of it is, though, what we cannot dispel is lives have been lost that would not have been lost, prematurely. The system has been shocked, and here's the reality. There's a lot of realities here. We entered into 2020, and there's a lot of things that have to happen between 2020 and 2030, as the future takes shape globally. This is not the way we'd rather it had been, that's for sure. But we have to understand that every single life lost is massively important. And one of the biggest issues that all of this culminates into is the fact that people do not care about other people's lives being lost. And that's the biggest problem. And it's even more concerning for those who call themselves Christians, who do not care, who it does not hurt their heart that people are dying prematurely right in front of them, right in their communities, right, outside of their communities, right in their state, right in their country. And they're just sitting back. Well, glad it's not me. Doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect me. Yeah, it does affect you. If you're a Christian, it affects you. It should affect you. And if it doesn't affect you, that's an issue. You need to get on your knees and get before God, and you need to seek his heart and for you, because if this does not affect you, this is a you and God issue. Period. If this does not affect you, you need to call out to God. You need to pray to Jesus, and pray that the Holy Ghost Spirit fills your heart, mind, body, and soul with a renewing of the Spirit, because you are running on E. If you're not affected, if the loss of lives does not affect you, if the thought that young black men cannot even have a shot at, a decent life or a life at all without the fear of walking outside and being murdered just for virtue of being a young black man, if that does not affect you and faze you, that's an issue. That's an issue, Christians. That's an issue. If somebody who's sickly, who's been poor their whole life, who's battled with drugs and is out on the streets walking around, and the medical system and the mental health care system is throwing them onto the street, and they're walking around day to day, and they come in contact with COVID-19 and it kills them, that should affect you. That should affect you. On and on and on and on and on. These things, if a senior citizen that's trapped in trapped in a nursing home, that can't even be around family and friends, succumbs, is already weakened in body after giving this country 60, 70, 80 years of its life in whichever shape, form, or fashion, has to sit there and die alone and scared. Come on now. Prematurely. That should affect you. If it doesn't affect you, you better get before God right now. There's a lot of belly aching and crying going on. And we have a lot to get done. And we have a lot of issues that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And as a Christian, we should be the ones who are emotionally encouraged. We should be the ones on top of the game. We should be the ones out here, snatching collars. We should be the ones out here walking boldly in the Word and walking in the truth and believing and leaning on Jesus in every which way out here. We should be the leaders and not the followers. Christians, let's get it right. We cannot continue to, it doesn't affect me. If you're a Christian, it affects you. It should affect you. And if it does not affect you, you better get before God right now. But I'll talk to you later. This is my third installment on perspectives, and there's a lot more perspectives that we have. It's not just about my perspectives. It's about all of our perspectives. And we have to start understanding that all of our perspectives count. But the only perspective that counts more than any of ours at all is God's perspective. That's the number one. That's the perspective that we have to be seeking after. Period. God bless you.